Please feel free to move your mats wherever you want for the talk. There's plenty of chairs out. Have a seat if you want a chair.
It's really very nice that so many people came out here this morning. Some people who've never been here before, or maybe I don't remember having seen here before. People who haven't been here in a long, long time, and people who are here all the time. Sitting here together in this beautiful, spacious room with sunshine after some rainfall or snowfall. On a quiet hillside. In the midst of so much turmoil in the world, maybe in ourselves. What an unspeakably precious thing it is to sit quietly together for a while. Not really knowing what to say, I prepared no talk, have no topic. Just listening together and see what's coming up. Someone asked me just yesterday, why do you sit? The person said, I asked that of new teachers that I meet. Why do we sit? Why do we? Not ask someone else, but find out for oneself about this amazing thing of sitting quietly alone or together, at least for brief periods at a time, or longer periods. Not having a rationale, not knowing why, but finding out and sitting. about being quiet with each other. We don't know. Most people don't know each other here. Many do, some don't. And yet we can sit together and share the quietness, the silence, the warmth of the sun, the calling of the crows, and the breathing. We're all breathing. None of us who doesn't, not just in this room, but all over the world, all throughout history, human beings have been breathing. No matter what their name or nationality or religion or race or wealth or poverty. There's breathing going on. Can one listen to it? Feel it? Not know it, we know it. We know that we're breathing. We know the word, we may know something about the physiology of it. May have an idea of where the breath comes in and where it comes out. But all knowledge aside, what is breathing? Not to give an answer, but to feel it, to experience it quietly. And all the other sensations that are there throughout the body, where the hands touch each other or touch the cloth of the leg, the knees, maybe a pain in the knees. And listening very carefully, the heart is beating, isn't it? Or there's something there which we call heartbeat. If we put the word aside, then what is that? Can one be in touch with it? The breathing, the sounds, the warmth of the sun. Feeling of the seat on the cushion or on the floor. Maybe a tingling in the fingers. What is all that beside what we know about it? The words. That's one thing. We have words for almost everything that we deal with. But what is this moment of sitting here, breathing, feeling the warmth, the heartbeat? Sitting together, some 20 or 30 people whom we may or may not know. What is that when we don't know? When we have no words to describe it immediately? Is the mind full of thoughts? Thoughts about oneself, one's fears, wants, what one would like to be or is afraid of being. Can those thoughts be felt and seen? Felt because every thought has physical feeling going with it. One thought of the war, and there may be a cramping up of areas of the body, pain, anxiety, anger or rage. So thoughts are also feeling. It cannot possibly be divided up, separated. That is what one comes upon in quiet sitting, how one thought can mobilize the whole organism into what one calls fear or anxiety or desiring, rage, anger, or hurt. One thought. And then as the body is mobilized and is agitated, paining or aching or tensing, what is that? Can one feel it? Or is it immediately translated into further thought? I'm not feeling good, I'm like this or I'm like that, thinking about it, interpreting it. Thinking about what can I do about my state of being. I shouldn't feel like this, or I want to continue feeling like this. Can all of that come to light in quiet sitting? Without any position taken, this is right or this is wrong. I shouldn't be like that or I should be like that. Seems almost impossible, doesn't it? Judgment seems to come with thinking and feeling. Almost seems inseparable from it. Feeling a pain and the judgment of it. Feeling an emotion, jealousy or anger, and the judgment of it. I shouldn't feel like that, or I have a right to feel like that. And we're asking whether it is possible to see all of that, including the judgment of it all, without judgment, just in an ever-opening awareness, which does not know what is right and wrong, but feels intensely what is there, feels, sees, experiences, without any separating judge or experiencer. Just what's there. And the breathing and the calling of the crow. And all the people here breathing and listening, we're doing this together. Not as 21 different positions and opinions, but as human beings sitting here together quietly and listening to what is happening. What we call inside and what we call outside. It may not be divided either, inside and outside. In so listening quietly, openly, if that is possible for maybe just instants at a time, maybe for longer. We don't compare. In so listening, the crow, the warmth of the sun, the breathing, the thoughts, the judgments, physical sensations, and the presence of all of us here together. What are we? What am I? What is everything inside and out? When I won't use words, which I know from long experience automatically, I want to find out without words about this moment of being, which is already words, but is more than words. Or other than words. What am I? What is inside and outside? What is everyone here? What is all humanity? When I abstain from all I know about it, about myself, about the others, about the friends and the enemies, the good and the bad, I think yesterday someone asked me, are we more than just this physicality, this physical organism? You seem to imply that this is all there is. I'm not implying anything. I may sound as though I was. I want to find out and be in touch with what's there, but not judge it, not know it, not confine myself, fixate or crystallize over anything, but leave it all open, like the windows. And more so, stepping out of the house. Then what contains us? If we don't think I'm this or that, and he and she is this or that, I don't know. This or that comes up, but it comes up and it can go. It dissipates. Moods, feelings, emotions come and go, don't they? And what are we? What's left? The mind have to get a hold of it, the thought insisting on grasping it. I'm a self, or this or that. Can one see that? Not judge it, not say, I shouldn't be doing that. It's happening, isn't it? Who is the I that's doing it? It's just happening. Thoughts come, and they have been coming for hundreds of thousands of years to human beings. And there's affecting each other with similar thoughts. Somebody called it a contagion of thoughts, catching thoughts like viruses, which are about. Can one stop for a moment, identifying with the thoughts as these being my thoughts, my feelings, and just freely observe, feel, experience what's coming and going in all of us, not just in one unique human being, in all of us, here or in Iraq, Iran, South Africa, or Ireland. There's contagion of thoughts everywhere. We catch them and we're affected by them as though there's something real, dividing us from each other, separating each other into camps of allies and camps of enemies. Everywhere in this world, throughout history, this has been happening, and nothing has changed in that. No matter how rational we think we have become, no matter how many wars we fought and think we have won or lost, we still divide up in camps of friends and enemies, and not just on the global scale, but on a small scale of in our interrelationships with friends, family, acquaintances, at work. It's such an incredibly potent process going on in the human mind to divide friend from enemy, to designate an enemy. How does that happen? Not in the Middle East, but here, where we are, where we live and work. How do we become enemies or friends? Often in the same process. Because as an enemy is created in the mind, a friend is sought for comfort or strength, or just sharing adversity. Does it happen in the way we communicate with each other? How do we communicate with each other? Here, right now, for an hour before the talk started, we communicated without language, without spoken word. Maybe we felt isolated on our mat. Maybe we felt in touch with everyone around here, without division of better or worse, friend or foe, adept or one who is inferior. Or did this already happen? Did the mind project that? Someone who's good at this sitting and I'm not so good, the beginner and the advanced. And with that designation, that compartmentalization, go feelings, don't they? One feels inferior to someone whom one has designated as superior. Does there come the impulse to fight this person or show this person how good I am at something else? A desire maybe to put someone down, to raise oneself up, because it's so painful to be down, because we think we're down and the other one is up. It's all created by thought. These divisions, these feelings, and then the me versus you, enemy, friend, foe, with which we're not saying that everybody is equal. We're not equal. Never have been equal as measured by certain criteria. The different mental capacities, inherited capacities, characteristics, traits, different education, different upbringing, social class, race, cultural, civilizational, man, woman, child, or adult. So much inequality, rich or poor, That is a fact. Do we see that as a fact, or is it already a gnawing fact, a disturbing fact? Something that we have to do something about, not maybe rationally or deliberately thinking it all out, but it goes in waves of impulses and reactions to do something about the other and myself. Can one observe that? Begin to watch it in a new way, in a radically new way, not according to any existing scheme of righting the wrong, but observing what's there without a battle plan or a plan of action. Not knowing, but finding out. Finding out whether one can be quietly, silently with what one is at this moment. Man or woman, younger or older, professor or someone who's never finished school. High IQ or as measured, low IQ. And just be with that, not have any position about it, not have any comparison to someone else who has different endowments, different background. Just be with that like we are with each other right now without knowing. We may know about it, but what of it? What difference does it make? If we are quietly, openly with what's there in all of us, due to common heritage, common backgrounds, even though different for different people. We all have backgrounds. We all have history. We all have upbringing and education, albeit channeling each one of us into different personality and character traits. It's nobody's doing. It's just happening and has been happening. It's just not me who made myself. One can trace back how this and that influence happened, how this and that thought was caught and began to work in one. Ideas, ideologies, religious thought. All of that can be thought about or experienced right now without a doer. Without thinking of me who has that, or him who doesn't, or she who has or doesn't. That's all extra. What's there is there, and it's constantly changing. I may find out something today that I didn't know yesterday. And therefore, there's a difference here. I'm not meeting you the same way I did yesterday. Something changed. I found something out. Discovered something in myself or in you or wherever. And I'm different. We're meeting differently. But do you still see me the way you recorded me yesterday? Or a year ago, 10 years ago? Do you cling to that idea about me? Then we can't meet in this incredibly open and fresh way of listening to each other and taking each other in, as it were. With affection, because affection goes with this openness. Caring, not sticking to positions of annoyance or grudge or retaliation. That's what we do usually, don't we? Sticking to annoyance and grudge and retaliation, trying to pay back, not intentionally, that the organism is all programmed to do that. And if there's no awareness of it, it happens automatically. If we admit it or not, because we can function on many different levels. We can say, no, I'm not like that, and just ignore how we are. So reactive we all are. Incredibly reactive. Can one watch that, not just sitting here this morning, but from moment to moment in our daily life, how reactive we are to each other, to what someone says, how easily, quickly, deeply hurt or flattered, and the actions that spring from that. Endless chains of action spring from that if it's not seen and interrupted in seeing it, noticing it, becoming aware of it, and wondering whether this has to continue like that. Constantly reacting for or against each other, for or against oneself. I'm wondering whether it has to continue. And the moment that wondering sets in, there's an interruption of a mechanical process. Often not just an interruption of it, it's the ending of it. Because one doesn't have to continue reacting if one watches how it takes place, thinking more about what happened to me, what she did. And sometimes just memory responding, not even conscious thought. But does it have to go like that? Don't say yes or no. I don't know. We have to ask that. You have to really seriously ask it. And not say it's bad if we do and it's good when we don't. Because that's habitual reaction. As open as the sky. We have quite a bit of time left. I'm wondering whether people would like to ask some questions. Doesn't need to be any beautifully formulated questions, but is there something that one would like to say, comment on, or disagree with, or add? About the war? What about the war?
I didn't really have anything specific, just thoughts, just what you've been thinking about.
Many people, since the war started, and I came back to Springwater just before retreat, last retreat, asked that, and also during retreat. Just received a long letter from someone who expresses her sickness, physical sickness and depression at this war, about this war. And she said, maybe is it that I'm just so clinging to the way I want this planet to be and remain. It was not just depression and sickness, I remember now, but a tremendous rage. Rage in the face of utter helplessness. That's how we feel, isn't it? Outraged at times. Sad. Sad can't cover it. The word. And the helplessness about it all. Feeling helpless. Nothing I can do about this to change it. Because one can participate in protest or peace marches. But so often, those protest or peace marches are also an expression of polarity, duality. Us versus them, and enraged, which perpetuates this phenomenon we started out with it in this talk, of being divided into opposing camps, not communicating with each other, not listening to each other with affection and care. And like in so many families where children are being raised, as it is called, this conviction that only force can be understood. Everybody feels that the other will only understand force. Come to terms, or give in, or obey, or do what I want. If I raise my voice or use my hand, or start dropping bombs. Can we let go of wanting anything to go the way we would like it to go to feel better? The planet Earth may not be able to support what we're doing for much longer. May not be able to. Someone just gave me yesterday an article to look at about came from a German publication about the ecological devastation of Russia. Which we're just finding out about, where no care or know-how or money is available or was available to even take care minimally of things. Now the Aral Sea is dry. It's dry. The water is gone. It's salt. Can't bring it back. I don't think so. I didn't want to read the article. I've got enough to read. People give me things to read all the time. Just looked at the graphics of it, and it was graphical. So, yeah, yesterday we saw a movie together, some of us, It was very hard to take. I didn't even see it to the end. It was too much. It was a Japanese adaptation of a Russian play called The Lower Depths. It was written by a revolutionary spirited man in Russia, but the Japanese just picked it up, applied to them too. How we live in utter deprivation or degradation. Not all of us, but a lot of us whom we don't see there in the lower depth. And then for a while this old man appearing with a smile on his face, just talking to everyone, sort of just wisdom spilling out of his mouth. Unfortunately, the titles are very short. You couldn't hear all what he was saying. Asking people, why do you live like that? Why do people live like this? Drinking and giving up and sleeping and fighting. And yet he was not critical of any one of them. There was a woman in this big room where all of these people were housing or dwelling. It wasn't a dwelling place, I don't know what you would call it. A woman was dying. He spent some time with her. She's dying. Maybe the planet is dying. We don't know. We don't want to build up too much imagery. But whatever is happening, where are we? Separate from it? Rebelling against it? We're trying to do something about it, but where are we coming from? From a camp? Fighting the opponent? Then we add to what is wrenching this planet apart. We're adding to that with our opposition, with our fighting. This old man, this smiling character, you could see he was totally empty. He was not concerned with himself or his survival or well-being. And therefore he could take in everyone who was there and say something and listen with deep affection and caring to all these hoodlums or whatever you want to call them. A thief, and drunk, sick, person who's just compulsively hammering away at some job and his wife dying. Is that something that is possible for an individual human being to do? To be with everything without being in a camp? Which does not mean with blinders on to see, like this old man kept saying, why do human beings live this way? Wondering about it, but not separate. In that emptiness of position or opposition, embracing it all with love. A lovingness which makes trees grow and rain fall. And human beings to gravitate toward each other, not to form a camp or a movement, but because we're all of one. What? I don't know what. Words fail me. So if one meets up with someone, you can see it sometimes on the news, a reporter, at least it was like that before the war started, reporters polling people in the street whether they felt we should go to war or how they felt about the war, and then just recording what the person said. And of course some people felt it was absolutely insane to do this, and others felt we have to do it because it'll get worse. And well, you've heard all of this stuff. But if we don't just go around with a microphone to record, but find out when we sit together, why do you feel this way? Not you shouldn't feel this way, or banging down on somebody with one's righteous position, which one thinks is righteous. But finding out from each other, listening to each other. Listening where we're coming from, watching the face, the body, the voice, and what it arouses in oneself. Opposition or agreement, and not getting caught in that, remaining open. So we can explore into the lower depths. Not just remain on the surface of opinion and position and right and wrong. But where are we coming from? How did we come upon this opinion or this position? To question it deeper and deeper. Until we don't know anymore. What is right and wrong? Which does not mean not to see what is going on. Human beings killing each other. I've talked about it a lot in talks, and sometimes people have said, you talk too much about that. There's so many nice things going on, and war is far away. In time or space. And now it's so close, isn't it? Can we begin to understand each other, not oppose each other? Understand, find out, wonder about oneself, and watch oneself carefully. So many people have mentioned this to me, how since this war they have observed so much in themselves that is so warlike, so retribution-like, so power struggle-like. We're all engaged in it. We are the people, the human beings of which this is made. So, letting go of wanting it to go the way I want to, and finding out how it is going on the large scale and in myself. Which takes a non-judgmental alertness. Because the moment judgment enters in, we cannot observe carefully, and our perception is distorted by the judgment, by what we think should be happening. Would somebody want to ask something or say something?
Can one affect the world?
Aren't we all affecting each other?
Can we not affect the world?
Yeah. It's always been throughout history, even just individual human beings affecting. Well, right now it's the whole world. No one is unaffected by the leaders of the different countries. No one. But the leaders are very much affected by what has happened to their camp in the course of history. Their friends, their enemies. Can we affect the whole world? Yeah, how can we not? Someone says. One human being not encamped, but open. And with that openness, a loving interest and caring listening. That affects others, doesn't it? But if I say, I must cultivate an open, caring listening in order to affect everyone, then I'm on the track of narrowness and wanting and self-centeredness. So the question is, can we listen quietly, alone and to each other, without gauging what effect this has? Because then it's not a completely open. You don't know whether it has an effect or not.
We can see visible reactions to what we do. We can't see those invisible type things of the mind or whatever, how we affect the world.
I read an article which predates this war. It was when we were very much concerned with what was going on in Nicaragua and the groundswell of opposition to the Contras. And a group of people who thought what they needed to do is go to places and just listen to people, went to Nicaragua and sought out Contras and listened to them. And were amazed to find that they too were human beings. Who seemed to be good to be listened to whom it seemed good to be listened to. Without propaganda and all this stuff, that we're enmeshed in and separated from each other through all the propaganda. It's getting harder to find the enemy and listen to him or her. I mean, in this war. Here, we're all here. Do we have enemies? Maybe we think we do, but we could find out what they are. If we listen like that to each other, we won't remain enemies. It doesn't hold up in this listening, in this open listening. Because then we touch the lower depths where we're nothing. You and I are nothing, but everything, open, clear, changing, rain and snow, ice and sunshine. But sometimes hard to get together. A person says, I don't want to talk with you. Lay off of me. Then do we have to become their enemy? We don't, do we? The person just said, lay off of me, and so we lay off. But do we get personally hurt? It's when we're invested in our attempt to make peace. When we're invested in that, then we get hurt. And then we have to get back at him or her somehow. It's all deliberate. The body has the software in it. Sometimes it's very hardware. So somebody saying, look, I don't want to talk with you in a grumpy way or neutral way, but can we live with that without feeling bad or inferior or hurt or rejected? Well, we can watch all of that. We can listen to that. Don't have to listen to him or her. He doesn't want to talk with me, but here's something that's going on. I feel rejected, hurt, and there are all kinds of voices to listen to, right? How we feel about ourselves and going on and evoking more and more feelings of hurt or reject, all of that stuff. See, coming back to the contrast, so as not to be misunderstood, it doesn't mean in listening to someone, one begins to agree with that person. Go along with what he, she is doing. It doesn't mean that at all. one can see what is destructive of affection, wholeness, non-enmity. One can see, it's so clear. It doesn't have to be judged. It's so clear. It's mostly clear out there in oneself. It's often foggy. So here's where we need to look. Also without rejection or acceptance. Because we are all the influences that have come to bear on this one organism. We are expressing and manifesting this right now. All the influences of everything that's ever happened is manifesting here. When someone said, how can we help not affecting the world? And how can what we call the world not help affecting us? We're inseparably interwoven. Can one see that? Without making a big thing out of it, so then it just becomes a wonderful new ideology, but then it's not the real thing. Someone want to say something more?
What about that? I read in the newspaper they're going to have a new energy policy. They're going to make it easier for the nuclear reactors. They're going to encourage the oil industry. There's not much talk of saving. This is something that feels helpless. This is just being pushed through. There's nothing to do about it. I feel helpless in seeing that. It seems like a destructive thing. It's been destructive in Chernobyl. Terrible things can happen from moving in that direction. And then there's what seems to be something very destructive inside. And that too is, it seems that way, maybe it's not, but it seems like very hard to be with that. It's something like what the people in this film, they didn't see themselves as being decent. And yet they couldn't, that was sort of working there. That was,
Yeah.
So I'm wondering about this sort of how these two things are the same or connect, this what seems to be destructive or something, it's destructive but there's nothing that can be done about it. It's there, all the time there.
But you can ask what it is, referring to what you feel as being destructive within. You can ask what it is. In all innocence, you ask a new question. What that is. What you feel and describe as destructiveness? And can it be observed openly without trying to destroy it? Because then destructiveness sort of comes through the back door and then fights itself. Something radically new or different has to come into being in what we call this consciousness, which is not more of the same, out to destroy evil. We've done that for a while. A new seeing or view or discovering. Use whatever words you want about it. It's something new. It's not of any opposition. And it doesn't create opposition. See, if there was love in human hearts and beings, we could get together and discuss energy. Love, not just love for everything on this earth. Then we get together and we discuss it, and we don't insist, we find out, and all of our expert knowledge will be on tap. But the important thing is meeting together in love, with love in our hearts. Not to push a program through, because all the scientists say this is the only thing we can do, or the best thing. And that was operating in that old man in the movie, right? One person said he almost looked like a clown, his face, smiling. Well, he's smiling all the time in the midst of all of this degradation going on, the shouting, the violence. And he was doing things, but he didn't have the feeling he had a program. It just came out of the spur of the moment, out of the goodness of his heart, which was empty of concern for the world or himself. He was with these people. There they were, and he said something or did something. So, how to approach this inner destructiveness carefully, but open-mindedly. And that will also deal with the outer destructiveness. May not save the planet, but what is this planet? In our minds. At night you look at the stars and you wonder what this is all about. I read someplace, and I probably got it all wrong, but the tidbits that remain in the mind is out of nuclear explosions of stars we were made. We're composed of that. Is that correct? Huh? when they were trying to, I'm not excusing, I'm just giving tidbits which interest me. They interest me. Reading when they were trying to clean up the 3 Mile Island nuclear reactor soup, they couldn't do it because there were so many algae and bacteria in there. They were clogging things. So something lives on. May not be as complex as we are, but the complexity isn't doing this planet much good.
As an individual, Toni, if I am able to be open and observe, what do I do with the observation?
Let it happen. All kinds of things come up to us when we're not attached or taking a position. Then an action suggests itself, or not doing something. It's not a planned thing then, which doesn't mean you don't plan for building a house or something. But it's so totally different from how we've been brought up and raised that we feel we almost can't give this a chance. We can't trust this or experiment with it. Let there be this observation and see what happens. I remember the first time, it's years ago, that I didn't just swat a mosquito, which was walking on the arm. And I'm not saying I'm never swatting mosquitoes, but I was surprised because I was watching it. I saw the thing. So since I was watching it, there was no impulse to swat it. See, with this kind of open, non-judgmental and non-encamped observation comes also a new kind of energy, which is not a divisive energy. It's just energy. And with that comes action or no action, but the seeing is already action. There's tremendous energy in that, which doesn't go for or against. It doesn't have to dissipate in that way. So it's there. Something needs to be done. It was neat too in this movie. It was an interesting play. Everybody was asked by the very nasty landlord to sweep the room, because nobody felt like sweeping the room. Who would feel like it was not? I mean, the whole place was a mess. Where would you sweep it to? It's all loose stuff. Nothing was bolted down. It was incredible. There's a stage there. But this landlord and landlady were sort of, well, were they more villain than anybody else? They just had their thing, trying to oppress people, get money out of them, and then telling them to sweep the place. But nobody did it, and who would sweep a place like this? But the old man said, "Where's the broom?" He never saw him sweep, though, did something else happen? I wonder whether there was a broom there. But at least it was no problem to him. Not as his job or their job. He was just a traveler. He wasn't even paying. But somebody insists on sweeping, and there's a lot of dirt, and the person is, how do you say, nagging or hassling other people. Well, then let's do it. Let's get it done. It's not a problem. But if you think it's their job, not my job, or she shouldn't add, and all of this, then we get sort of paralyzed. I'll be brunch.
Is brunch ready?
Is ready? Okay.
There is brunch ready and everyone's welcome to stay.